Alright, I don't know where else to put this. I tried to file a report and the look I got from the officer was one step away from asking me to take a breathalyzer. My company dispatcher thinks I was hallucinating from exhaustion, but I know what I saw, I know what almost happened. I've been driving rigs for 15 years and I've seen some strange things on the asphalt sea, but nothing like this. So I'm putting it here, a warning. For any of you guys running the long haul or even just a family on a road trip, burning the midnight oil to make it to grandma's by morning. If you see this place, you push that pedal to the floor and you don't look back. You run on fumes if you have to. It's better than the alternative. It happened about 3 weeks ago. I was on a cross-country run hauling a load of non-perishables. The kind of gig that's more about endurance than anything else. Just you, the hum of the Cummins diesel, and the endless ribbon of blacktop unwinding in your high beams. The section of highway I was on is notoriously empty. It's a dead zone. No radio signal worth a damn, no cell service for 100 miles in either direction. It's the kind of place that makes you feel like you're the last person on Earth. A tiny capsule of light and noise moving through an infinite silent void. I'm usually pretty good with my fuel management. It's second nature after this long, but I'd been pushing it, trying to make up time I lost at the way station. The needle on the diesel gauge was kissing E with a little too much affection. The low fuel light had been blinking patiently for the last 20 miles, a tiny orange beacon of my own stupidity. I started doing the math, calculating mileage, and a cold sweat started to prickle my neck. Getting stranded out here wasn't just an inconvenience, it was dangerous. Just as a genuine knot of panic began to tighten in my stomach, I saw it. Up ahead, a faint, sickly yellow glow bleeding into the oppressive darkness. It wasn't much, just a single light, but it was enough. As I got closer, the shape resolved itself. A small, single-story building with a low, flat roof and a short awning over a pair of fuel pumps. The sign was old, the kind with the plastic letters you can change by hand. A few letters were missing, so it read something like AS and AT. The light I'd seen was coming from a single, flickering fluorescent bulb under the awning, which cast long, dancing shadows and made the whole place look like it was underwater. Everything about it screamed, keep driving. The paint was peeling off the walls in long strips like sunburnt skin. The pumps looked ancient, the kind with the rotating numbers instead of a digital display. The whole lot was cracked asphalt and weeds, but my gauge was now defiantly sitting on empty, and beggars can't be choosers. With a sigh that felt like it came from my boots, I geared down, the air brakes hissing in protest, and swung the big rig into the lot. The trailer tires crunched over loose gravel. I killed the engine, and the sudden silence was deafening, broken only by the hum of the fluorescent light and the faint, frantic chirping of crickets. I climbed down from the cab, my legs stiff. The air was cool and smelled of dust and distant rain. Through the grimy plate glass window of the station, I could see one person, a small figure standing behind a counter. The bell above the door let out a weak, tinny jingle as I pushed it open. The inside smelled of stale coffee, dust, and something else, something vaguely metallic and sweet like old pennies. The shelves were mostly bare. A few dusty cans of off-brand beans, a rack of sun-bleached chips, a cooler that hummed loudly but seemed to contain nothing but shadows. The only person there was an old woman. She was tiny, almost bird-like, with a cloud of thin white hair and a face that was a roadmap of wrinkles. She wore a faded floral print dress and a gray cardigan pulled tight around her shoulders, even though it wasn't cold inside. The moment I stepped in, her head snapped up, and a wave of what I can only describe as profound relief washed over her features. "Oh, thank heavens," she said, her voice thin and raspy like dry leaves skittering across pavement. She put a trembling hand to her chest. "You gave me a start, but I'm so glad to see you. I get so nervous out here all by myself at night." I gave her what I hoped was a reassuring nod. "No problem, ma'am, just need to fill up the tanks." Of course," she said, her eyes, which were surprisingly sharp and clear in her wrinkled face, darting to the window and back to me. "It's just the silence, you know, it gets so loud out here when you're all alone." I understood that, I really did. The loneliness of the road is a character all its own. "I hear you," I said, pulling out my company card. "It's a long way between towns on this stretch." "Isn't it just," she breathed, her eyes fixed on me. "A long way. You headed east or west, dear?" The question was normal enough, gas station small talk, but the intensity in her gaze was a little off. "East," I said, "got a load for the coast." "The coast," she repeated almost dreamily. "That's a good long drive, a real long drive. You must..."